That was the second part of the question that David had there. He also questions the reliability of the numbers we get out of China. That's that old adage, you know. How do they report? How do they report, quarterly GDP before the end of the quarter, like we've seen in the past, or whatever? And an associated question from an earlier writer, Kevin, who wrote in. This is the first question he had, a two-parter here. And he says, I'm still a bit leery of investing in China. After all, they were the Reds when I was a kid. I've been investing in China vicariously by investing in CVRD, for example, resource major in Brazil. Jim, is that a better way to approach the PRC? Because I know you go great guns. You're a big cheerleader. You're a member of the Communist Party of the People's Republic, right?
Well, I will say to you that I don't trust any government numbers, whether it's America or China or Hong Kong. I mean, do you really get your investment advice from governments? If you do, buddy, you're going to go bankrupt. I assure you, I don't trust any of them, but I do know, having been to China enough, that something's going on in China, that there's some kind of boom. The difference in China when I first went there 25 years ago and now is staggering. The difference in 5 years ago and now is staggering. So something's happening. I don't rely on government numbers or government anything for my investment advice. As to the best way to invest in China, as far as I'm concerned, the best way is to buy commodities. If you buy companies, you have to worry about corporate governance, even if it's a Brazilian company, whatever it is. You have to worry about a lot of things. But, Bernie, if you have nickel, the Chinese are going to be nice to you. They're going to take you to dinner. They're going to pay for dinner. They're going to pay you on time because they have to buy nickel. They have to buy cotton. They have to buy commodities. And that's the best way to participate in the growth of Asia, not just China, the whole world.
Okay, Kirby, I think you want to pick a fight again with Jim, huh?
No, I wanted to say that you don't have to worry about the viability of the numbers necessarily. The question is, look at how they've gotten the numbers. They don't have to lie. Look at the bank lending. Look at the amount of stimulus they have thrown. Look at the arsenal that they have thrown at that economy in the first year that they've had to deal with a lack of real demand from the U.S. to make up for the exports. And look at the result they got. They got about keeping their head above water to the level of growth they had when they had exports. They don't have to lie. They have been throwing everything they have at this economy so they can take those numbers and show us. The real question investors have to think about is when that runs out, and they don't have the demand will not be back from the U.S., what are they going to do next? Jim is right. Play it with commodities, but watch it. The stockpiling is not real. There's no end demand for the commodities.
Point. Jim.
But, Kirby, I would make a point, too, that the Chinese, they saved a lot of money for a rainy day. Now it's raining, and they're spending some of the reserves they have for a rainy day. And they seem to be spending it wiser than many countries. I mean, they're building infrastructure. They're investing for the future productivity and competitiveness of China. And I suspect when we all come out of this, if we ever do, China's going to be even more competitive going forward than some of the other places. In America, they're spending the money on make-work projects instead of investing for the future. So I think that the Chinese at least are doing a little bit better job than the UK or some of the other countries.
They're already warning of problems down the line, though. They're already warning they might withdraw stimulus and maybe kind of take the pedal off the metal a little bit. They recognize there's something going on there.
The best news we could hear. Absolutely. Take the
pedal
off
the metal everybody.
And redirect a lot of that stimulus into absolutely making a domestic demand-driven economy and building a real social safety net that will lead to that domestic demand that will lead to a brighter future.
Gentlemen, break time. We're going to take another quick break-a-roo. Go ahead. Everybody should take the pedal off the metal.
Everybody should take their pedal off the metal, yes.
Everybody, take the pedal off the metal, drive the Chevy to the levee, and the levee goes dry. We'll be right back, folks. Maybe put your money in a classic car or fine wine or fine art or something. Cindy, my wife, you know my wife, we had dinner with Paige, your wife, the other day. She just bought some sculpture. She says, at least it's beautiful. It's sexier than any stock I've ever bought in my life, What do you think, Jim? You buying beautiful things in life?
Well,
you surround yourself with beautiful. You are beautiful.
I haven't seen Cindy's sculpture, but I presume it's more beautiful than most stock certificates. Yes, no question about that. That is, look, hard assets, real assets are going to be a great way to protect yourself and to make money in the next 10 or 20 years because inflation is here, whether Kirby knows it or not. Inflation's here. It's going to get worse and it's going to accelerate.
It's going to accelerate. Jim, come on.
Okay,
absolutely. More than 20% of my portfolio is physical gold and gemstones, and I own land.
He is hedged. He is hedged.
Absolutely. I'm in the inflation camp.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example of this. Michelle writes in. You want to hear this, Kirby?
Yep.
Got a lesson from Michelle. Michelle says, tell Kirby that Jim is right as usual. There is inflation. Despite the government's kooky, cooked-up numbers, in the real world, I eat and use transport. There are a lot of people underemployed. Recent grads not counted as unemployed because they have actually yet to be employed. Everybody except Goldman Sachs is making less money thanks in part to Jim Rogers. I'm going to be watching this whole mess unwind from my newly acquired farm. Sincerely yours.
I'm right there with her. That's beautiful. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Right. Jim, Michelle loves you.
And I will tell Michelle that she's exactly right, because farming is going to be one of the best industries in the next 20 or 30 years. It's been horrible for 30 years, Bernie. If you get tired of television, you should think about going into agriculture.
I bought a chicken the other day. It turned out to be an Australian national. It cost me $25 US. It used to be $12, and they said it's because of the Aussie dollar. And I was saying I don't think that chicken ever did any forex trading or speculating in the markets. Back to the emails. We've got to entertain a few more of these the emails from our wonderful viewers out there. Jim, you ready for this one? Where is it? Here's one. Roger writes in. You mentioned that silver is 70% below its all-time high, which was $49.45 in 1980. But wasn't that because Nelson Bunker Hunt and his bros tried to corner the market? Wouldn't that take a little bit of fizz out of the argument there? Quick retort on this one, if you would.
Whatever the reason, it was the all-time high was $50 an ounce. You know, so the normal high maybe would have been 40 or 30, whatever the normal high would have been. But the facts are that somebody was buying silver at $49, and there wasn't enough supply to stop the hunts, if that's what caused it. That's the fact. Say 30 should have been the high. It's still far, far, far below its all-time high. And there were people speculating in gold back in those days too.
Okay, real estate. Ted writes just came in. So if we decided the hard assets are at least something that have a base value, should I buy more properties? Should I buy real estate in Hong Kong? Should I buy 39 Conduit Road at $11,500 a square foot, Kirby?
I've lived here for 4 years. I lived in Japan before that for 12 years. I never got into the Japanese property market until I lived here because I realized how scary the Hong Kong property market is. I would say the play on real estate, because I believe we still have more downside in the U.S. I think that there are asset bubbles, especially real estate bubbles, forming here in Asia. It's very dangerous. However, the play for me is an anti-inflation play. Take out a 30-year fixed mortgage, especially in the U.S. We're very near the bottom, probably another 10 to 20% to go compared to the gain you can get when interest rates really fly, and you've got a 30-year fix at these current rates. I think you're going to do very,
when you can get
well.
it fixed. You can't get it fixed in a place like Hong Kong because of the maturity mismatch.
So that's right.
Bingo.
So I am out of the market.
Jim, do you own property? Are you quietly accumulating property without telling us, and just telling us to buy grains and food and palm oil?
No. I mean, if you want to buy property, buy yourself a farm. Do what Michelle did a few minutes ago, or buy yourself a property in a farming area or a mining area, because the miners and the farmers are going to make a lot of money, Bernie. Buy yourself a house in Iowa. Now, I don't want to move to Iowa either, but if you want to make a lot of money, that's where you should buy property.
Taxes. No, taxes. No. Taxes. That's just. I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to get my hands dirty. Kirby doesn't even shop for. You won't even touch an onion in a supermarket. How the hell is he going to buy a farm, Jim?
Bernie, then buy yourself a lake house in Australia, or buy yourself a lake house in Iowa, because then you'll make a lot of money, because your neighbors are all going to be rich.
One more for you, quickie for you, Jim. May writes in, would you ever invest in a fashion stock? There's so much luxury around China. Maybe that's a theme to ride on. Jim, you're a fashion icon. Look what's around your neck.
I am sure that fashion companies in China are going to do fantastic. I just am not smart enough to know which ones. I mean, I still wear the same clothes I had in university, so I am not a fashion judge at all. But yes, there are going to be fortunes made in new brands coming out of China. I just don't know which ones.
Okay, how about you, Kirby? Would you buy a fashion stock just for fun?
Yeah, look at who I'm married to. You know my wife. I absolutely am very bullish.
You married a fashion stock.
That's right.
Kirby, Jim, my good friends, stay well. We'll have this convo once again to be continued. Thank you.